Hello, my name is Liliana Minor and today I'm going to talk about the evolution of the English language, Old, Middle and Modern English. What are the origins of the English language? The history of English is conventionally perhaps too narrowly divided into three periods, usually called Old English or Anglo-Saxon, Middle English, and Modern English. The earliest period begins with the migration of certain Germanic tribes from the continent to Britain in the 5th century AD, though no record to their language survived from before the 7th century, and it continues until the end of the 11th century, and a bit later. By the time Latin Old Norse, the language of the Viking invaders, and especially the Anglo-Norman French of the dominant class after the Norman conquest in 1066 had begun to have a seminal impact on the lexicon and the well-developed inflection system and typifies a grammar of Old English had begun to break down. The following brief sample of Old English prose illustrates several of the significant ways in which change has to transform in English that we must look carefully to find points of semblance between the language of the 10th century and our own. It's taken from Eliot's Homily on St. Gregory to the Great, and concerns the famous story of how the Pope came to send missionaries to convert the Anglo-Saxon to Christianity after Saints Anglo-Saxon boys for sale as slaves in Rome. After he started, like some examples that will be appear here. Anglo-Germans variants are something that they had to change or use in the vocabulary and pronunciation that had to be so different than now. And actually, a few of these words will be recognized as identical in spelling with their modern equivalents, he, of, him, for, and on, and the resemblance of a few others to family words may be guessed. Name, to name, common, to come, wear, to wear, guess, to was, but only those who have made a special study of Old English will be able to read the passage with understanding the sense of it is as follows. That will be appear here some examples that, like I said, some difference with the pronunciation. Against his third Gregory asked what made be the name of the people from which they came. It was answered to him that they were named angels. Then he said, rightly, are they called angels because they have the beauty of angels, and it is 15 that such as they should to angels' compositions in heaven. And it's something like they have to change the program where now we have to using some of the words in the original have served in the attending form, included asked, asked, who, how, cleans, rightly, and glad, angels, have to have, swiddled, such, wholesome, happen, and beyond be. Others, however, have vanished from our lexicon mostly without a trend, including several that were quite common words in Old English, like again, people, nation, said, spoke, color, name, appearance, beauty, and companions. Recognition of some words is naturally heightened by the presence of two special characters called tone, called which separate in English to represent the sounds how called with th. And it's here where some points or other points where nothing includes the fact of pronoun system didn't yet in the late 10th century include third-person plural forms beginning with th or h. High appears where we will use they. Several aspects of word order will also strike the reader as oddly unlike ours. Subject and verbs are embedded after the adverb. Then said he, and will be the per here the example. A pronoun not unknown in modern English, but now present to a few adverbs such as never and requiring the presence of the auxiliary verb like do or have. In subordinate clause, to me verbs must be last, and so object or preposition may precede it in a way no longer natural, high of common, which they from came. For the examples is here because they angels beauty have. Perhaps the most distinctive difference between Old and Modern English reflect in Alfred's sentence is the elaborate system of inflation of which the now have only remains nouns. And this is the example. Nouns, adjectives, and even and definite article are inflated for Angel's case. A number of the people is family, genitive, and singular angels is masculine, accusative, and plural, and skillum such is masculine, dative, and plural. The system of inflecting for verbs was also more elaborate than ours. For example, is here that we have the word have ends with the success characteristic of plural present indicative verbs in indication there were two imperative forms for subject forms, two for imperative forms for subjective forms, two for the present tense, and two for the present or past tense, and several others which we no longer have, even where modern English retains a particular category of inflection. The form has often changed. All English present participle ended in n, not eng, and past participle for prefix g. The Granins answered above. The period of Middle English accents run from the 12th century through the 15th. The influence of French and Latin, often by the way of French, upon the lexicon continued throughout this period and lost some influence and the reduction of others, often to final unstressed vowel spelled e. Accelerated the many changes took place within the phonological and grammatical system of the language, and typical prose passage, especially one from the later part of the period, will not have such foreign look to as Ephraim's prose has. But It will not be mistaken for a contemporary weighted aid. The following brief passage is drawn from the work of the late 14th century called Mardevillen's Travels. It is fiction in the case of travel literature, and though it presumes to be from a Japanese and English knights, it was originally written in French and later translated into Latin and English. In this extract, medieval described a land bacteria apparently not altogether invaded place as it is inhabited by full dual evil folk and full cruel. In this, we have an example that will be appear here as both a word is shaped. This example says, it was to be interest part we were called as put a word be the shape, whereof men making clothes and wool brings but may be made to wool. In part proving many hypotheses, but tolling from time in the water, and sometime over the land, and people half men and half flowers, as have said before, and pity the men when they may taken, and there being inverse to weathers, per being full, bitter, bree, cities more pen in the water of the sea. It has in part contributed many beautiful, more plains, and only other country. Some saying part of the hand he body of war to angel and but him as the lion of Phoenix. But the wormy wolf and body more great and is more strong, bearing ends in laws, and such as Lilos has been his half and more great to stronger, but the whole angels such as hands amongst verses for angels bird being will be flying ordinars and word horse. At the pairing of two oxen, three occurred together, its pain gone on the floor. This example is so special because they have to use entire kind of singles or system with the writing system. The spelling is often particular by modern standards and even inconsistent with this few sentences, country or country, with tone and great hours, being to pan are some examples. However, in his original text, there is an addition to turn another old characters called youth to make difficulty in can represent these several sounds, but here may be thought of as equivalent to y. Even the other spelling, including those where stands for b or p spurs, are recognizable, however, and they are only a few words like hypotenuse, hypotenuse, and these times I have dropped out the language altogether. And this is some examples that they trying to tell or give us before we may notice the few words are phrases that have many meanings to longer common, such as the bitter city or this half on the city of the world, and at the point and half, and the effect that the centuries long dominates the French. The vocabulary is evident, and many familiar words which could not have accounted Alfred's writing even if his subject has allowed them Words like country, runners, plenty, eagle, um, lion are some words that have a different kind of writing, but they sound the same like the modern English. In general, words are the now very close to that of our time through the notice constructions like halt body more great entry cities more pen is the water of the sea. We also notice that present tense verb still receive a plural reflection as the being, the one, had, and been, and that while motivated by, that is example here, has replaced Africans had the third person plural, the form of adjectives is still him. They have using all the same number of inflection for nouns, adjectives, and verb has been gradually reduced and in most respect medieval and closer to modern English than the older English. They have to change some sounds, the vocabulary with the letters of the alphabet. They had to change all the sounds because we have a similar sounds with a German, French, and British English that we have in the present day period of modern English extends from the 16th century to our own day. The early part of this period saw the completion of a revolution in the phonology of English that had begun in late Middle English, and that effectively ready the accountants of the vowel phenomenons to something approximately this present pattern. Medieval English would have sounded even less familiar to us than it looks, but we are using some words that they have been gave us. Other important early developments include the stabilizing effect on spelling, speaking, writing, of the printing press of the beginning of the different influence of Latin and to a lesser extent Greek on the lexicon later as English come into contact with other cultures around the world, and distinctive dialects of English developed in the many areas which Britain had colonized. Numerous other languages made small but interesting contribution with our words stock. The, the historical aspect of English that we have now really compares more than the three stages of developed use under consideration. English has what may be called a prehistory as well as they have seen or language didn't simply spring into existence. It was brought from the country by Germanic tribes who had no form of writing and hence left no records. Philological now that they must have spoken a dialect of a language and then that can be called West Germanic, and that other dialects of things unknown knowledge of the language must have included the accessories of such language as German, Dutch, Low German, and Frisian. They know this because of certain systematic similarities which this language share with each other, but do you share with, say, Danish. However, they have had a know-how to reconstruct what that language was like in its lexicon, phonology, grammar, and semantics, aspects. They can, through sophisticated techniques of comparison, develop incredibly during the last century. And this is an example that they have to give us something similar, because since the mother language like Old Norse and Gothic or Iceland or Norway have points to come with Old English and Old High German or Dutch and English that they do not share with French or Russian. It is clear that here was a earlier unrecorded language that can be colored simply Germany, and that means they reconstructed in the same way. Still, earlier Germanic was just a dialect. The ancestors of Greek, Latin, and Snackling were three other such dialects of the language conventionally designated Indo-European, and this English is just one relatively young member of an ancient family of language whose descendants cover a fair portion of the globe. And this is the meaning where the English is so important for us. We have now the history of early, old, and modern English, the old, middle, and modern English. And thank you so much, everyone, to listen me, and see you. Bye.